right now. That right there, you know, is my insecurity. This part right here is what it's really about. Alright? I want to let you know, in my ignorance and arrogance, I failed to prepare and acknowledge realistically for a war against oppression. It has ravaged my kind for over 500 years. You young people don't realize it, but you are still being robbed of your heritage, inheritance, and future. They say if you don't know where you come from, then you don't know where you're going. That's because you might be going backwards or in circles, and you don't know where you're supposed to be. Now, first of all, I already know I'm not the most eloquent of speakers, all right? This is not what this is about. It's about the message. Please take heed, all right? Part of your inheritance is knowledge and tactics. The experience of those before you. Instead of walking in your father's footsteps, you should be able to take it from where he left off. I pray that you accept the knowledge and experience I offer you now and learn from my mistakes. My children are grown, and after having spent more than half their lives without the benefit of my love, they either don't love me or don't know what love is. So in the limited sense, I adopt you. You should know that despite technological advances, information is not enough to guarantee success without the balance of spiritual security. I'll give you an example. Shooting pool. You made this shot 100 times. You made it 1,000 times. But now you're playing this dude over here, and what happens? You fumble. You're insecure. And you don't understand it. Okay? There are those who declared war on you and your family and are too cowardly to admit it. They're your adversaries. This is known to your adversaries, your insecurities. It was brought about by their kind. Many of them smile in your face. First of all, I want you to know this is not racial. This is cultural. This is about class. Racism is an instrument of misdirection used by those who seek to oppress. Right? And you say, who's this guy talking to me? Why should I listen to him? It usually takes 2 years to get an associate's degree, 2 years more to get a bachelor's degree, 2 more to get a master's, and another 2 to get a doctorate. I've been studying law for more than 13. Socioeconomical warfare for much longer. So by my own authority, that's right, by my own authority, I am the opposite of a slave. Although this war made me a soldier and a warrior, I have been divinely inspired to elevate myself to restore our stolen legacy and status and bear witness to the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors in this land and return to us singularity of purpose, respect, honor, and the power to defend it against any and all who oppose it. ONE, one, our nation's elevation. LOVE, love, loyalty overrides virtually everything. I hear people always complaining about our complaining, saying, let's not talk about the problem, let's talk about the solution. Yet, if I say 2, you're going to look at me stupid. But if I say 1 + 1 = 2, you'll understand. This enlightenment is not for the African American, Latino, and Native American victims of the slave trade alone. Or should I say slave traders? It is not a criticism of Caucasians as a whole, but an unacceptable portion of their ancient traditions. Many of them don't indulge in it. But I want you to know, alright? All you little fellas out there coming up, not knowing what your pops would tell you or what he would want to tell you. I hope that I'm doing a good job. Alright? I'm going to tell you. We are the gold and the jewels of so-called Africa. Okay? We are the fruit of what the Bible calls Eden. Even if you look in the King James Bible, they talk about the Garden of Eden, they talk about the river that flows through Eden, is the same river that flows around Ethiopia. This should be enough to clarify all of that biblical babble about and debate about whatever, okay? You know what I mean? But this is humanity. We're not really talking about black and white. We're talking about humanity. And when it comes to that aspect, people of my complexion or darker are the prototype, meaning the original model. I like to take that word to replace the word nigga, alright? Because we can make whatever we want out of the word. We make the word bad mean good, you know what I mean? But we you know what I'm saying? We call people where I'm from, we done call George Bush, and we say that white nigga George Bush in the office, White House wilding, yeah. That's the way we used to talk when I was a kid. So, you know what I mean? Nigga is not a racial thing, but at the same time, there's too much confusion, too much division over this word. So, I'd like to use the word prototype. I advise that the young, y'all take that and y'all make that your own. Y'all could break it down as type or pro or whatever, right? This is what you do, you know what I'm saying? You make your own. You're the maker and the owner. We're not the creators, but we're the makers and the owners. We take creation and we make our own. That's our ability, okay? We are the diamonds in the rough. My great-great-grandfather, John Wesley Dobbs, the first was a slave. I know in my heart that he would not want me to wear that same name. Now, I understand taking pride in family and blood, genetics, and those who love you and those who worked hard for you to get here. At the same time, that is a brand. So, when I say my name is King U stand for universal. That's what my family calls me most of the time. My little nieces and nephews, they call me Uncle Versal, yeah, right? When I say this, I'm not just saying it by my right, and I'm not saying it to be rebellious. I'm saying it out of respect for myself, okay? I advise that you respect yourself and get yourself an attribute of the Most High, the law, of the God of Abraham. This is how it is. You know what I mean? I don't even understand why everybody's beefing about this. You know what I'm saying? Christian, Jehovah's Witness, Hebrew, Mohammedan, Islam. I don't even understand how there could be any debate or fighting amongst you. It's all basically the same religion with different traditions. There's folly on some, of course. And this is what y'all need to discuss with respect. It's easy. We might get into that some other time. Okay. Now what I said about my pops, my grandfather, he was a Marine in World War II. My pops, he was a Coast Guard. I got cousins that was a Marine, cousin who was in the Army. I got an uncle who died during the Vietnam War in the Army. I got his little brother served in the Army. My little sister in the Navy in her 20th year. All I'm saying is, how much more American can you get? gonna tell me I'm not American enough to have my rights? Anyway, man. Now I introduce myself, as far as the common understanding of labels. Now I'm gonna introduce myself to who I truly am. I'm Supreme Emperor King Universal of the Supreme Empire. By my authority, I reestablish the law statuses of our ancestors. It pains me to see the confusion. I want you all to know, as descendants of the African American slave trade, that I'm very proud of you. Everything that you've done is remarkable. No other people could have survived the open torture and terror and come out to exist in the fashion that we do. We are such a threat that there are people who feel that they would lose their authority and we were able to think straight, and they flood our neighborhoods with drugs. These drugs come from 3,000 miles away. They can't find them until they get to your block. These guns, what are they made of? They can't find them until they get to your block. Why they got so many people policing your neighborhood? This is an old tradition of oppression. I'm talking to government officials. I'm talking to children of the ghetto. I want everybody to be aware, and I want you to take action against this oppression. Let me give you a little history. This history is important. As I just said, in the Bible, where it talks about the Garden of Eden being Africa, this is where man started. We didn't imprison men for crimes. We exiled them. Some men traveled off on their own. Some were exiled from the tribes. Now, eventually some people were barricaded to the colder regions as the population spread. You see, if you take a piece of hair, a straight piece of hair, and you put a fire to it, it's going to curl up. In sandy, windy environments, you're going to have people with chinkier eyes and straighter hair. Okay, lighter skin, where there's less heat and intensity. You're going to have wider nostrils when you live in a humid place. You're going to have thinner nostrils when you live in a colder place. There's been somewhere where it's cold and you gotta cover your nose. You take a popsicle and the brain might freeze a little bit, you know what I mean? So, you cover your mouth, your lips, you're gonna have thinner lips. All these things are natural. We are one people. Now there are those who have engaged in selective breeding with the purpose of division. That should be understood. You understand what I'm saying? There are those who are cunning and crafty and mischievous. And there are those who just feel the need to experiment. Okay, this is what we see. This is the result of that. The world has nothing new in it unless it came from a meteor. The water that we're drinking right now existed millions of years ago. It's just being filtered through the earth or in other ways. I mean, basically, it's the same water that the dinosaurs pissed, caught up in the atmosphere. So you're drinking dinosaur piss. I'm just saying that to ease attention. At the same time, it's a very serious matter. I want you to understand, though, that nothing is new here. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot that a young person can learn. The things that the technological advances that are being made out of the same material that existed. There were people who dealt with this. African Americans excuse me, the people who live in Africa and that type have been here for millions of years. A lot of things have been tried and abandoned, like explosives, things that could cause a lot mass destruction. These things were abandoned and forbidden. This is why they stuck with the spear and the rock for millions of years. There was no need to upgrade the methods of killing. Now, those who lived in the colder regions, though, now this is where the mindset that we face now comes from. They had such a harsh standard of living. Let's say there's 20 of them. It's so cold they gotta travel together in packs. Okay, what they do, they decide on the 7th day, on the 7th moon, we're gonna go hunting and find us something to eat. Because unlike in Eden, there's not animals running rampant, fruit, food, things to eat. So now, on the 20th moon, they come up out of their warm places, their places to get warm, which is normally caves. They come up out of there, and what they do is they search, and they run into a bear who's hungry like they are. And they fight this bear. 5 of them die to the cold. 5 of them die fighting the bear. And they go back to the cave, and there's somebody trying to get warm with their woman. Now they either have to fight this person for the woman, or they have to befriend him, which is not uncommon also. See, this is the mentality to own and to possess in that fashion something as simple as a tree, where when they come down and they make their way down after upgrading their methods of killing, okay, and putting it in their laws that this is the way to survive, they come down, they see the tree, we say, hey, there's a tree here, a tree for you. And the tree, anybody can eat from this tree. Something simple like that, right? Okay, check it. Now, next thing you know, this man is pulling out swords, standing in front of the tree, talking about this tree is mine. This is because of where he came from, the conditions in which he had to deal with. This is what was written down in the laws by the kings and queens, okay? This is something that created the classes of nobility and peasants, okay? This is where, when the peasants started to rebel more frequently, recognizing the flaws of government, let's say bad leadership on the part of the king. This is why they changed something that was known for millions of years. African Americans, I'm saying African Americans. You see the training? Okay, this is why black men, I don't even want to use the word black men right now. Let's say this is why the prototype was then used as a scapegoat, as a distraction, as something lower than the peasants, for the peasants to focus their anger on. Okay, this is what we have. It's misdirection. Right now, we got people saying, oh, send all the police to their neighborhoods in the urban areas. Keep them all boxed in. Hunt them. Okay? You got the same crimes going down outside. You got 10 million people surrounding this group of people right here. There's million people in this city. And they live in the rural areas or the suburbs and stuff like that and don't have to deal with this type of harassment. Okay? Anytime something is going down, there's going to be a distraction. This is what you're a victim of. This is what prevents you from making the progress. And you don't realize that you're going to be prevented. There's certain things established strictly by men who died hundreds of years ago and is still being enforced because nobody wants to create a new system or check the greed in capitalism. I personally am a capitalist, but at the same time, I understand the balance that's necessary for government. Okay? Now, I respect a lot of the arguments about other people of other social orders and so forth. You got some wonderful people out there. But I do not believe that communism would work. Once a woman has been a mother, there's no going back to being a virgin. Mankind as a whole has indulged in taking advantage of talents. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it has to be balanced because of the simple fact that this is mankind, and mankind is the balancer. Okay, it's our responsibility. When you read, and they talk about Joshua, who they call Jesus, and he says, during his trial, they say, is it true that you say you're God? And he says, doesn't your book say ye are gods? He's talking about Psalms 82, the book of Psalms. See, all of those books were written hundreds of years apart. It was compiled decades later after the death of Yahshua, who they call Jesus, and who the Arabs call Islam. Psalms 82 says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy, deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither do they understand. They walk on in darkness. All of the foundations of the earth out of course. And I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, that thou shalt inherit all nations. Thou shalt inherit all nations. Okay, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. Me, studying as a poor righteous teacher for decades now, I recognize, and being a true poor righteous teacher and studying more, outside of the common norm, okay? I understand and I see clearly. We are reflections. We have the right to be, or try to present ourselves as attributes of the Most High, Allah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, okay? We're talking about the God of Abraham. We're talking about the Creator. This is who I'm talking about, okay? And as long as you're talking about the Creator, because we already know everything starts with one, okay? When we talk about that, we're talking about wearing attributes. We're talking about being physical attributes, manifesting attributes through our character, okay? So, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty, he judges among the gods, means that you will be with people who we call similar, like alike, okay? People who are like you. At the same time, according to the lessons that I've studied, I have the right to come up with my own understanding. So, it's going to be evident in the developments, okay? So God standeth in the congregation of the mighty, he judges among the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? See, we accept the persons of the wicked when we allow the wicked to leave, because we want to be caught up, and this is not your fault, that you're caught up in this entertainment, misdirection, these drugs. All of these are strategically put here. Okay, we normally grab a lot of these things when we're young and insecure, and then it takes decades for us to break these habits. Okay, what we need to do is take bad habits and replace them with good habits and replace them with better habits, and so on. Okay, defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy. This is our duty. This is what I'm attempting to do. I'm attempting to teach you self-defense, mentally, spiritually. Understand who you are, okay? When you read the laws attempt to make people who are not like you were. One of the things I do not understand is when I see Africans wearing all these clothes with these sweaty spots. And I sit here and I say, don't you know that it was all hypocritical, and then they were saying, oh, they run around half naked. Well, the first thing they do when it's 100 degrees outside is go to the beach and get half naked themselves. Please, this insecurity. Now, people say, hey, how can you say that when you talking about Islam, and Islam is older than the sun, the moon, and the stars. Muhammad perfected the religion. When he perfected the religion, it was for people who were too wild and savage to direct themselves. It gave them instructions on everything so that they can ensure their way into paradise. There were other Muslims already around before and during. Surah 22, ayat 78, 77, 78 says, I name you Muslim now, before and at the time of this revelation. Okay, so that means that they were around, they're still around, that are not adhering to those same principles. So please build from that plane. People are not on the same level of understanding or need. When 100 people stand in one room, people are still going to have different angles that they view things from. One man's going to be on one side of the room, one man's going to be on the other. Okay, now, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. That's what I need. Rid me out of the hand of the wicked, right? They know not, neither do they understand. They walk on in darkness. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is man, woman, and child according to the lesson. So they know not, neither do they understand. So right now, I believe they're talking about a woman, symbolically speaking, somebody who has that position. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth out, of course. Foundations of the earth out of course. Also, the foundation of the earth is the sun. That's why we walk on in darkness. And man is not there. And that comes to my situation. That brings us to my situation, the matrix. See, they'll give you Oprah or Ellen, they'll give women dildos, they'll give you everything, welfare. They don't want you to develop men that are competition. Thought is the beginning of action. This is why we're going to have these distractions, misdirections. Look over here, not over there. Oh, gangs, they say, groups against national government. Most of these groups fight in between themselves. I rarely, if ever, see anybody against the national government. Now, I'm against corruption. I'm against those corrupt factions in the government that have infiltrated the government. And I want you young people to put yourselves in a position of power to be able to combat those factions. That's why you need singularity of purpose. Okay, so now, we know a little bit about the mindset of the personalities that caused this tradition. Okay? Now, what I want to do is bring you to America. During the time in America, and there's never been a partisan. I'm running on, I forgot to finish the songs. Excuse me, I'm not a professional at this. Okay, actually, this is the first time I'm doing this. Right? So, now, all of the foundations of the earth are, of course, now say, ye are God and all your children of the Most High. Okay, now, in Islam, Muhammadan Islam, it says that Allah has no begotten children. Allah, by the way, means the one God, so let's not get it confused. The word Allah is better to use at some times than the word God, because the word God has been associated with other deities or mythological deities. Okay, so the word Allah has only been associated with the one God. So take no offense. All right. Now, what I want you to understand is God creating makes everything His. So we are children of the Most High, but we shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. That means we're going to die like the flesh and blood creatures of the earth, physically, and fall like one of the princes. That means don't get a big head with other princes. If there's other princes, that means that you might not make it to be king, okay? But that does not mean that you do not offer your tribute and play your position. Okay? Now, rise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Basically, stand up. Offer your contribution. Put in your work. I'm doing this right now. My goal is to live with tenacity and die with power. That's what this is about. Who knows? I might get killed. I might get beat. I might get injured or whatever, because these people see this video like, oh, this guy right here, we got him. Okay. Anyway, yeah, die with honor. All right. Now, what I was saying about us being here. There's a theory called the Willie Lynch theory. Whether or not Willie Lynch actually existed, the theory is a fact. These are methods that were used. Even the Hebrews, during their enslavement in Egypt, did not bear the torture that we had, well, that our ancestors had. Okay, and we are the residue. We wear the residue of that. Okay, now the Hebrews kept their language. They kept their tribal orientations. They kept their families together. Here, we were under threat and penalty of excruciating pain and death. Excruciating pain and death. To read. So when you see prototypes out there who don't want to read, understand that this is something that went on for hundreds of years. There's nothing wrong with you not wanting to read. At the same time, there's nothing right about you not wanting to read. If you want progress, read, learn, absorb. Okay? Now, as far as robbing, you were robbed, your family was robbed for hundreds of years. That's why you have no inheritance. You were robbed mentally, spiritually. So robbing, when you think about it, this is what people have done to you. Of course, to your kind. Of course, you feel the natural inclination that work is not going to get what you want. Because of the simple fact that you worked. Your family has been working for hundreds of years. And you was robbed. Okay. So yeah, when they say hard work means this and that and the other, you might not agree. There's nothing wrong with that. At the same time, they're not right. And they're not wrong. You want progress, you move forward, and you work, but you work for yourself. I hope I said that right. Just now, I got kind of confused right there, right? So, anyway, this is for the little ones, because I know the adults are going to be like, oh, you don't want to listen to this guy right here? Look what he's doing. He's confusing his words. Either way, I am who I am. Okay, now, as far as homosexuality, this is something that was developed in the colder regions for people trying to stay warm. and it was something that was forced on many of our ancestors. It's not something that comes from our natural culture. No person is born with a sexual orientation other than the one that they are born with physically. I never had a sexual inclination as a child. This is something that's developed. Sometimes you're rebelling against something, sometimes you're embracing something, sometimes something hurts you. Okay, but these are choices. I know that people might be upset about what I'm saying. Get over being upset and think about the future. You have what you have to contribute. That's respected. But there's certain places that things should be done. Nobody's going to say I'm saying that. Okay? There's certain places that you should be able to smoke and certain places not. Okay? You should not be able to infiltrate a non-productive sexuality into a child's mind. Carelessly. Okay? So, please understand, all of this is the residue of slavery. Okay? The Willie Lynch theory, let me break that down a little bit for you. It's said that a man named Willie Lynch lived in the Caribbean and was so phenomenal with the way he conducted his plantations and the way he handled his slaves that the Americans over here in the U.S. were compelled to ask him how he did it because they were losing a lot of money on slaves that were rebelling, okay? And they were killing and hurting and so forth, and other kinds of torture they would tell them, okay? So, this guy comes over here allegedly and he says, hey, what you need to do is break the slave, take the strongest one and put him against, take the strongest one in front of his family and the community at large and break him. One of the ways to do that was to tie one arm to a horse, one arm to another horse, one leg to a horse, one leg to another horse, and set them off to rip them apart in different directions. This is whether he did anything wrong. This is just to psychologically terrorize the slaves and make them not trust in their men and their strongest men. Even the mother of that man's child would be too scared to teach that child to rebel and teach that child to stay in his place, the place asserted by the slave trade. Okay. Another thing they did was put the young against the old. Use things like jealousy. Say that the older guy was jealous of the young guy. The young guy, you know what I'm saying, was trying to usurp and take the old man's spot. These type of things to put them against each other so they'll never get together. Okay? They took the ones who spoke the same language and separated them. So that they couldn't speak the same language and have to rely on the English language. And this is why none of us know our own languages. This is why people don't call themselves European Americans, they call themselves Italian Americans, you know, British Americans, Hispanic, Spanish Americans, French Americans, whatever. They can say whatever it is, Russian Americans, they can say that, but we say we're African Americans. We have no idea which country we came from. So, this is the result of things like that. When you have a brother running around talking about, hey, yo, man, that nigga think this, that nigga think that. And then he don't say that about people who are not excuse me. Okay. Generally, you won't hear that comment made about any man of any other race, black man. See, we were taught to degrade each other and degrade ourselves. And this is why we have the reckless black on black violence that we have. There's always going to be black on black crime. There's always going to be Chinese on Chinese crime, Russian on Russian crime, Italian on Italian crime. This is always going to happen. Okay, this is natural. Now, as far as violence, I mean, okay. Now, at the same time, the amount let's be more thorough. The purpose of the violence, that's the issue. Stepped on my shoe, this, that, and the other. Okay, this is perpetrating the same mental state that was forced on us. It's understandable because I know, and when we look about people that look around and see people and they say, hey, you know, people were taught bad things about us. You know what I'm saying? They're used to coming to this country and looking at us as if there's something wrong with us. They don't really realize that if we were any other people, other than the fathers of civilization, we'd be thinking about revenge. We'd be destroying things. I mean, they're complaining about this right here, and they're not helping. I mean, the Japanese paid restitution. The Germans paid restitution. Nobody's done what they're supposed to do as far as in the world perspective towards humanity after such a crisis. When they allegedly freed the slaves by law, there were many people who didn't even know that they were free. There were many people who bucked the law and said, you know, the only reason they was freeing the slaves was because somebody put guns to their heads. They killed half their family in the Civil War. Okay, it was not some moral gesture. Also, the North realized that it, being an industrial community and getting a lot of its resources from overseas, from other countries, they realized that people didn't know what was going on over here. And as they're learning, they're being treated more hostilely. They knew that there was going to be a war to come, so they'd rather fight their own. In the South, they were more comfortable. They figured they could buck it, they didn't see it. Anyway, now, this Willie Lynch syndrome, this is what the residue has produced. Okay, so I want you to be aware of these things, and I want you to fight these bad habits. Okay? I don't know, I'm trying to contribute. I want you to understand I will be, if I survive this, I will continue to oppose oppression, especially of the African American descendants of the slave trade. So, I could sit in here and I could die and I could cry and I could get high and I could do whatever, or I could contribute. This is the same thing you could do out there. These habits that you have, they're strategically implemented and brought about. You got people that are like little kids playing with ant hills. They go do the same thing with whole communities with their money because they're bored. As you just saw, the judges and so forth. In my case, I mean, I don't know, had they even saved a life? Had they ever done anything to be worthy of a place to judge? They probably just studied the law because their parents told them to, and now they're hanging with their boys and doing what they do. Now, we need the judges who want to die with honor. That's what we need, okay? I'm gonna stop rambling on. It's like this. If you're driving north on 95, you'll never make it to me. If you're driving north on 95, you'll never make it to Miami. Alright? Can't be going the wrong way. No matter what your intentions are, you have to make sure that you implement it in your life. Stop allowing yourselves to be distracted. Move with singularity of purpose. All of you, put yourselves in positions of power. Education. I challenge the rich people in the hip-hop community to donate Black's Law dictionaries, pocket size Black's Law dictionary to all the junior high school kids who live in projects. I challenge the ultra wealthy to create to create law museums with theaters where they reenact trials and explain what went wrong through narratives, and have a law library inside of it, tracing the law for the youth. The junior high school kids go there and charge $1, get a couple people, lawyers, to volunteer, help to explain the different movements in the law. You know, back in the days, every society taught the law first. This society right here, they basically made lawyers, not to say lawyers, but practitioners of law, a form of nobility, is that they're above the law. They do each other favors and all this stuff like that. They don't necessarily have any greater moral character than anybody else. Sometimes they're just more cowards. But sometimes you got some men who stand in their ground, stepping up to the plate, fighting a good fight. I'm not saying anything to the exclusion of anything, okay? But this is what we need, information. We need kids to get more comfortable. It took me almost 3 months to read the first 3 pages of the law book that I first started reading when I first was in the county jail. Because I kept having to read the same paragraph over and over. I had to realize that they're using the word as instead of because. Instead of because such and such happened, it's as such and such happened. Okay? So, I got a whole bunch of ideas. Hopefully y'all get a chance to get them. Alright? By my authority, all stations of honor are re-established, from common soldier to kings and high kings. And we salute all the new American tribes of the descendants of the slave trade. The homies wanted me to put on, so be it, right side. Behold, I momentarily turn a prison toy into a throne.